Great news as Nancy Pelosi, who just arrived into town as the House resumes its session this week, says she's not going to go home to take a vacation until she gets some work done. Yeah, you just arrived into town, darling. Why are you worried about your vacation again? Ironically, she said she wants to stay into town to get the COVID relief bill done and doesn't want to leave until it's got done. Viewers' reactions was quite the opposite. If you leave, it'll actually get done. So maybe you should leave town and we'll get the deal done without you here. Alcatraz, I hear, is very nice this time of year. In related news, she said, you know, we want to stay in town and get stimulus packages done, and this will really send a message we're going to get it done. What part of that discussion is not clear from her is that the last time she said this, the problem solvers came to her office, she wouldn't let them in. Mark Meadows came to her office, she wouldn't let him in. Steve Mnuchin called her up, she wouldn't answer the phone call. It's sort of like, yeah, it'll work if I stay in town and I don't answer your phone calls and I lock the door on you. The real reason she's staying in town, of course, is because there's no hairdresser in San Francisco that'll do her hair. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Morning to LALATE. Hope you're good and safe with incredible great news right off the bat today. It is Wednesday morning today, and it's 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I'm really honored for you to join me on the Net's Most Watched morning news show as not one, but 3 second stimulus package deals to get you second stimulus checks are about to or have been introduced, and exciting great news overnight about the executive orders that could be coming to you very soon. Moreover, I will have no less than 5 more details, 5 more locations in which that scandal, which became the world exclusive on this channel over this weekend, is uncovered, where state and local has money for your stimulus, for your unemployment, for your rent, for your aid, for your food, is not sending it out and is trying to hold it for a rainy day, as one city called it. Oh boy, I'm going in deep. I'm here. You have the purple power. We have the purple power. And thank you for joining me. Go to the Funnest channel and subscribe. This is the time to subscribe for a channel who has reached 250,000 subscribers in 4 months because of your power. Information is power, and purple, which is blue plus red, informs you about the power that you get from information to get stuff done correctly. Also, like this video, it helps the video appear higher in the rankings. Yesterday's morning video was incredible. You gave it almost 20,000 likes. Let me get into incredible details this morning. I'll be going over 3 subject matters. First, the 3 bills. This is legislative relief to get you second stimulus by act of Congress, in Congress itself. The second one is executive orders. That is coming from the president, not without the legislature involved. And the third one is coming from the states, without the legislator or the president involved. Let me start with the president right off the bat, because I know that is the one that singularly the viewers of this channel are most focused upon. If you ask any viewer of this channel which path they think they're going to really get the second stimulus checks from, they will tell you it's by executive order. And I have incredible news overnight. If no one has told you until today, until this broadcast, that there's something that is clearly suggestive of a potential for executive orders coming for stimulus checks and FPUC. What is that number? If you look at the executive record of executive orders that this president has issued since his term in office, he has generally done about 7 executive orders per month. Some months he did 6, some he did 8. Last month, I think it was 7. The month before that, it was 7 or 6. Guess how many he's done this month? As we sit here now on the 15th day of September, or 16th day of September. How many has he done? 0. 0. which is incredibly, insanely great news, because as we sit here today, he hasn't used, there's no moratorium or cap on how many executive orders you use, but the fact that he hasn't used any yet in this month is absolutely incredible, great news. By comparison, if you're wondering how many executive orders this president uses compared to Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or George Bush II, he uses about the same. There's some claims that he uses a lot more. He really doesn't. If you look at it historically, he uses about the same amount. They just get a lot of press for them. But this is insanely great news. Why is this so important to you? Most of this viewer and myself believe that stimulus checks will come by executive order, and that they'll come on the eve of you doing your mail-in ballot, which is a few weeks from now. It takes about 10 days for him to get the money to you, so he would announce it on a particular day, and it would take about 10 days for you to get the money if you're set up for electronic deposit, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits. They would get it by electronic. If you're set up for the IRS for electronic deposit, you would get electronically as well. And so he has to do it within a certain time frame, and that time frame is coming up. It hasn't lapsed. It's approaching us. I know a lot of you wish this was done a long time ago. I'm certainly with you. I certainly think you're entitled to multiple checks, but this is where the real path that most viewers have the enormous optimism. There is $300 billion in a federal agency that he can use. He does not need an act of Congress. He announced that over 2 weeks ago, and yesterday we had insanely great news as the problem solvers detailed for us the price tag to send out second stimulus checks, where everyone gets $1,200 if you're a single individual, married couples get $2,400, and minor and adult dependents, meaning all dependents, get $500. It came in far under $300 billion, that price number that the president identified 2 weeks ago on a Friday that he has access to. So we now have complete confirmation he has absolutely that amount of money. I've already told you it was enough money. I mean, you didn't need the problem solvers. I told you this 2 weeks ago. I knew that based upon how much it costs to do the first stimulus package round, but I was worried about the amount for adult dependents. Remember, if you're an adult dependent, you didn't get a stimulus check because you didn't qualify. It's a horrible thing under the first stimulus package. The second stimulus package, everyone wants to give you a second stimulus check. Now, what's also really great news is that yesterday's problem solvers bill, which is one of 3 bills I'm going to be talking about in a second, had a provision there for second stimulus, and it's written by both Republicans and Democrats. And what I loved about it was not anything worse than what the president would do, and it was really sort of closer to what the Democrats would do. First, it really didn't have a cap on the number of dependents as far as I read the bill. Second, there was no retroactive check. I know I got a lot of questions about that. It made it sound as though you're going to get multiple checks. There's no multiple checks in the bill, in their bill. Third, the total household was a little bit larger than the president. The president may limit the number of dependents under your second stimulus if he does it by executive order, because he has tweeted before that he wanted a number somewhere around, I don't remember, it was like 3,900. So that means married couple 2,400, and then it meant 500, 500, 500 if I'm doing the math really quickly on camera. But the problem solvers didn't want to limit the number of dependents, which is really quite good. The Democrats want to put at 6 people, 6-person household. They want to give you $6,000. 5-person household, they want to give you a $6,000, which is 1,200 times 5. The other thing that's also great news is that the problem solvers did not take out for child support, because a lot of viewers always ask me, of course you can always recoup child support on a local level, but their proposal yesterday did not mention anything taken out for child support. I've said that I don't think the president would have that in there as well, because it just doesn't sound normal in an executive order. Take out for child support in an executive order. It just doesn't sound normal. So that's the incredible great news. The other thing that's incredible great news about executive orders is yesterday's problem solvers bill also gave us a value for how much another round of FPUC at $450 per week for 8 weeks, and then $600 for a couple of weeks after that, how much that costs. And when the great news is that it costs generally about what I told you over the last couple of weeks, and that I have identified that amount of funds available for the president to do that for you in another round of LWA. He does not need another executive order for LWA. He has one. So all he has to do, he actually doesn't have to do anything. Well, he has to make a call or two. Basically, you could wake up one morning and have a federal agency say, you know what? We're going to start providing the funds for another round of LWA. States come apply to us. He doesn't have to do anything. He just has to call up the agency and say, use this funds, repurpose this funds. That's what happened with FEMA. In the case of FEMA, the funds were just sitting there, and he said, FEMA, you're going to send out those funds for the purposes of LWA. So all really incredible, great news. The timing of this is just, he just has to get it done. So follow up with your tweets, your Instagram posts. Keep them clean, keep them professional. Tweet the president, tweet Mnuchin, tweet Kudlow, tweet Navarro, tweet Meadows, and say, do the executive order, send out the stimulus checks. And if you tell them you're a Democrat and you're asking the president to do that, I mean, it shows incredible bipartisan support for something. It's absolutely incredible. All right, now let me turn to the next thing, which is the 3 bills. I'm going to go briefly over this because I went over so much in detail yesterday, that you have not 1 but 3 second stimulus check bills. There is one coming from the Blue Dog Democrats. These are Democrats. That's why they call Democrats. And that's why they're called blue. The Blue Dog Democrats, they're a smaller group, and they want to have second stimulus checks in their enhanced unemployment benefits, FPUC. That's coming. The other one is coming from the new Democrat coalition, New Age, the trans group, the one with the glow sticks, and that one's coming as well. That's a larger group. That's about 300, 400 people. The one introduced yesterday was from the problem solvers. I told you about them several weeks ago, and I'm not joking. Like in that opening, almost everything I said in my opening today is not a joke. She's actually done that. She has literally refused to meet with anyone. So the problem solvers went to meet with her. She refused to meet with them, and when they announced their bill yesterday, she attacked them throughout the day. I had a couple comments. I answered them last night. I'll just do it very briefly. I don't care what she says. This is the Purple Power. We don't focus on negativity. We won't focus on no. We focus on yes. She called the problem solvers is a group of Democrats and Republicans. They're bipartisan. What was her reaction earlier in the day? She called them a bunch of Republicans doing a Republican bill. She called members of her own party Republicans. Later in the day, she said it was inadequate, and that she rejects it. Okay, like we didn't see that coming. And then later in the day, when she said we're going to stay in town and work on something, which is sort of weird. It's not there's nothing else to work on except what your mindset is. Then she was asked, well, is this because of the problem solvers? She says, no, how about the problem solvers? We're not going to focus on that. What we are going to focus on is the incredible press. As we start the day, this is the situation. This is the situation with the 3 bills, and I know it's a little confusing. The situation publicly is that the entire landscape of broadcast news and print media now has Democratic caucus is split. Democratic caucus does not support Pelosi. Democratic caucus wants to do stimulus right away, doesn't want to sit around, doesn't support her. And they cite the 3 bills. They all cite them. They don't cite them for the purposes of saying that you're getting a check tomorrow. They cite them for the purpose of saying something needs to be changed right away because these people don't agree with her. She's trying to quelch or squelch. Quelch is that new Gatorade drink. She's trying to squelch the public sentiment in favor of these people by saying, I reject it. I don't care that she rejected. I mean, do you care? I don't really care. The point is that AP, Associated Press, at late in the day said, big movement for second stimulus. Big movement as members of the Democratic Party split with Nancy Pelosi. That's the situation. How quickly could this become... I have some people asking me just procedural questions. Is this becoming law today? No. Is it coming for a vote? I don't know. What is the process? It has to be approved by the Senate and the House and go to the President. Ultimately, all 3 things have to happen. But things don't move so inherently cohesively. For me to predict this is like predicting the movement of Hurricane Sally. It's just all over the place. But the incredible other great news is this. Boy, my world scandal, my world exclusive is really hitting the fan today. as Senator Martha McSally, a Republican from Arizona, wrote Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin asking for more relief and explanation about how to use the COVID fund. As I detailed on this channel before, $150 billion was allocated to you, given to states under CARES Act 1, and those states have not used it. I'm going through the stories right now. In our respective states, we have heard from mayors and governors about what to do with this money. She asked for explanation from Mnuchin about how to get the money. She's not gotten it. Let me show you what's happening locally. In Greenville, 6 weeks into receiving $75 million of COVID fund under CARES Act 1, they've only spent $1.8 million of $75 million. It's absolutely horrific. They tried to use the money by saying, okay, apply for some grants and you can get up to $10,000. So far, they've barely given out a penny of money. $1.8 million out of $75 million has been given in the town of Greenville, Honolulu, Hawaii. They have less than 100 days, I think it's less now because this article's a few days ago, less than 100 days to spend $300 million given to them. They had only spent $71 million of $387 million given to them. Under CARES 1, they were given nearly $390 million to use on you. And to date, they spent 10% of it. And now they're scrambling because they're like, how do we spend $300 million in 10 days? It is literally a hot mess. That's that city. In fact, there's a very wonderful local news print outlet called Civil Beat, which said they've asked the city of Honolulu for a list of the completed and planned expenditures of what they spent the money on, and they've not responded to comment. So they're refusing to provide details to press on where they have spent this money. Next city, Corpus Christi, Texas. Did I say crispy? Corpus Christi. It's delicious. Received $2 million in federal funds to pay people for their mortgage, rent, and utilities. How much have they spent of $2 million to date? $144,000. They have spent about 10% of the money. It's insane. Virginia, next state. Of the $1.1 billion that they have been, they were given $3.1 billion, Virginia, the state of billion, $3.1 billion. How much have they left unused? $1.1 billion they have left unused. Now, this is perhaps the most horrific of all the stories that I'm covering this morning. In the state of Virginia, they're actually proud they haven't used the money. They're saying they're keeping the money, which is for you, for stimulus, for rent, for utilities, for food, for homelessness, for unemployment benefits. They're keeping that $1.1 billion for you, for themselves, for a rainy day. A rainy day. Virginia, it's not just raining now, it's pouring. Spend your damn money on your citizens. Stop hogging the money for the rainy day. The rainy day is already happening. Insane. Governor Ralph Northam should be ashamed of himself. He said, cash is king. No. Off with your head. No, cash is not king. Residence is king. It's called, oh my God, I can't even read this without, about to tear my hair out. And, Nancy Pelosi's hairdresser is not available this afternoon. Del Sally Hudson, a labor economist, assistant professor at the University of Virginia, says, it's called a rainy day fund for a reason. It's pouring. And at some point, we have to accept that D.C. is not going to come to our rescue and step into a world where states start doing more for their people. Thank you, Captain Obvious. The point is that this state decided that when they got this insane amount of money, that they would not spend it on the residents, that they would keep the money, keep $1.1 billion unused, and start to do what? Not give you stimulus checks, not give you enhanced unemployment benefits, not give you rent, not give you food. They would start cutting services. I just can't say this with a straight face. They are cutting services to keep the money in the bank and not give the money to you. And here we are, we have that person who just came back from her vacation in D.C., the Temple of Doom, saying, I'm not going back on vacation until we have a deal, until you give me $915 billion for state and local, so that they can be given 3 years of grant money, and that grant money will never be given to you again. No, we've made that mistake once. We're not going to give the state and local another penny. We're not going to give state and local another penny where they are given money for purposes that is open field day. They can use the money for whatever they want. That's actually untrue. There's restrictions on the way they're supposed to use the money, but they are using the money for whatever they want, or they're not using the money. And here, this time around, the way that she wrote the bill is that they can use it for anything they want. Don't have to spend it on residents. Just keep the money in the bank and use it over the end, and you would have basically a free-for-all, free money for 3 years. When you've been waiting for a stimulus check in the month of March, April, May, June, July, August, September. You've been waiting for 7 months for stimulus checks. 7 stimulus checks, and she went to give 3 years of grants to states and 1 stimulus check to you. It's times like this that the purple power really comes up, because we have power. Information is power. Ignorance is what you lose power on. Temple Doom does not want to tell you this $915 billion, doesn't want you to know anything about staying local, doesn't want you to hear about this, doesn't want you to even know what's happening. This story needs to be headline news. You need to take this video and share it on Facebook, and share it on Instagram, and share it on Twitter, because this is the scandal that everyone's talking about. Go to the front of this channel and hit the subscribe button and drop your comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. And then like this video. It helps with the algorithm. Coming up later today, more about the scandal. I'll be going more into detail about why states are keeping money that was supposed to be yours for themselves, not sending it out. And more exciting news about executive order and movement in Congress to get you second stimulus. As always, stay informed, stay motivated, stay smiling, and stay valid for more.